Hey, welcome back. That is Jackson Brown from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Very important piece in the film there, just that one little segment. I can't really talk about it on the radio, but hey, joining me is Noble McIntyre from McIntyre Law. He is back. I love when we do this 80s segment with him. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well. Good to see my shoulders feeling much better.
Yes.
Got an injection in it, so it's still broken, but cracked, but it's feeling good now.
Pain medication is good
It's
sometimes.
amazing stuff, yes.
All right, so we were talking about Fast Times at Ridgemont High, great 80s movie, all about high school. Did you ever have detention or anything like that when you were a kid?
Okay, so first of all, I've told this story a few times. Although I was valedictorian my junior year in junior high and high school, I still was challenging, and I hold a record that can never be beaten. It can only be tied. I'm the only kid in the history of Burns Flat Public Schools. We called them licks, getting paddles. I'm the only one that got licks every year, kindergarten through 12th grade. Never missed a year. So I didn't. It wasn't so much detention as it was take me out in the hall, beat my butt, and then call my dad, who had a rule that if you got spanking at school, you got him at home. So it was double jeopardy. So I would rather have had detention because I wouldn't have had the second swat that I got at home. But I was in trouble frequently for being mouthy.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I just have no idea that you.
Yeah,
would,
who knew? Who knew that I would get in
who?
trouble for talking too much or talking back?
I was so afraid of getting in trouble that I was afraid of everything. So I just was a good little kid.
I didn't have that problem. I wasn't worried about it, and maybe I should have been. I will say in my defense that in 6th grade, I was set up. I shouldn't have got a SWAT. I earned the rest of them, all the other years, but in 6th grade, Jimmy Shirley set me up.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, he was awful then.
I know it was terrible of him to do that, but I earned all the rest of them, so you can't really say much about it.
Well, at least you're owning that.
Yes.
One thing, it's interesting. I grew up in Missouri, 1st grade through 10th grade. We hadn't moved back to Oklahoma yet because my folks are from Chickasha.
Okay.
But we went to Missouri for a while. My dad taught at Southeast Missouri State University in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And so we had a smoking cage in high school. I didn't smoke, but it was right by the cafeteria. So we'd go for lunch, you'd have to pass by it, and you'd be. I don't know what they had in Oklahoma. I can't think that they had a smoking cage.
There were no high school students that I'm aware of smoking on school grounds. I think they would have gotten into some serious trouble for that back then. I'm shocked that they allowed the students to smoke on campus. Now, today you struggle with vaping, obviously,
yes,
which is worse for you than smoking, except that you don't stink like you do when you're smoking, but it's just as bad or worse in your lungs. But no, back in our day, I mean, I'm sure there were some kids that smoked. It would have been relatively few. Now, again, I'm from a very small town. I graduated in Burns Flat. Town only had 1,800 people.
Right.
But there wasn't anybody smoking. I think you even said the teachers would smoke with the students.
Yes. You
That's
would see
terrible.
the teachers out there puffing away.
No, we didn't have that either. I don't remember any teachers ever smoking outside. They probably had to go get in their car or leave campus to do that.
Wow, the state of Missouri. I don't know what it's like now. Probably not that way now.
Probably smoking in class now.
Yeah, in class. They're vaping. And speaking of vaping is on the rise. Kids vaping,
Right.
and more than even smoking, and it's still basically the same thing. You're getting nicotine.
You're getting a lot of nicotine. It's highly addictive. They should never start it. A lot of them start it because a friend handed it to them, and they thought, I'll try that. And they should just not have, because there's nothing that good comes of it. And, I mean, if you look at the studies now, Juul, obviously there's a Netflix special about Juul and how they got the kids addicted. It was all about getting them addicted. And so that nicotine hit and what it's doing to your lungs with those chemicals is as bad or worse than smoking a regular cigarette.
And we have more lawsuits about that, don't we?
Yeah, and there's going to continue to be more because there's going to be lung cancer and other diseases that these people get.
And it's still kind of dangerous, too, because they can blow up. Those little Juuls or whatever.
We've had a case where a guy had it in his front pants pocket. It blew up. He got major burns all over his leg, and it's not normal, but it's also not uncommon. If you go Google that, you'll see that happens more often than you think. People get some major burns because the Juul is in their pocket or in their hand or whatever, and it will cause a major burn.
And one thing about vaping is, like you said, you don't smell like smoke. You smell like strawberries or something like that.
Yeah, so the stigma's not there. When I was a kid, they could still smoke in restaurants, and they'd have smoking section and non-smoking. Mm-hmm. And you didn't even want to sit next to the smoking because if you weren't a smoker, it smelled so bad. You could smoke on airplanes, and they did away with that. Well, now and so there became a stigma about it. Well, the Juul doesn't smell, so you don't have that stigma attached to it, which is another reason it became more popular. Plus, when you're a kid, if you're trying to smoke in your room, your parents would smell it, but they're not going to smell the Juul most likely or the vape that you're using. And that's why it's become so popular.
you would see the kids by the window in those 80s movies.
Yeah.
Smoking.
And
or smoking the wacky weed,
Yep.
too.
Always the wacky weed.
Which is not legal in Oklahoma. It's only legal as medical wacky weed.
Yeah, but all you have to do is say it hurts to bend your finger, and then they'll give you a medical card. So it's not like it's tough to get it.
I can't tell you how many times I pulled up to a stoplight. I'm like, well, what is that? Is that a skunk?
Look, and you shouldn't be doing it because you still have a duty to drive your car and not. If you can't drive down the road intoxicated with alcohol, and you can't drive down the road high from pot. But people think that because they have a medicinal card, they can do that, and it's not. If you get in a crash and you cause a crash, and I can show that you were high on marijuana, my claim against you is going to include a punitive damage claim, and it's just not a good idea because you're putting others at risk.
Wow. Always with the knowledge. Noble McIntyre Law. Thank you so much. So we talked about smoking, and it's illegal to still have the wacky weed if you don't have a card, and
all the things.
Yes, all the things. This is very informative to people. We talked about scooters last time. I had a lot of people comment on. Thank you so much for talking about the laws about scooters downtown that you're riding.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Noble McIntyre.
Thanks for having me.
McIntyre Law. Thank you.
Thank you.